Yes people, what is good? I am BA, back once again with another reaction in the Rome series. This is episode 2 of season 1 and it is called How Titus Pullo Brought Down the Republic. Last episode, we were basically setting up the main conflict between Rome and Pompeii. Caesar had been away on an 8-year campaign. I think it was the Gaul he was fighting against, and there was unrest amongst the people in the political arena. Magnus from Pompeii actually stuck up for Caesar in the arena, but secretly he was beginning to harbour resentment. And then when that other woman from Pompeii bought that white horse and sent her son to give it to Caesar as a gift, that appeared to be the straw that broke the camel's back, and Magnus started to plot against Caesar. In amongst that, of course, we were introduced to a few other characters. There was that woman, as I said, in Pompeii, clearly from a high society family, with her son. We got to see quite a lot of those characters last episode, from her doing the bull blood ceremony and things like that, to her son being taken captive. So we got to spend a little bit of time with both of those characters last episode. Another thing I found interesting, I googled this week because I wasn't sure. So in that scene where they were having a political discussion, it seemed like there was a room full of people in white togas and one guy in a black toga, and I wondered why that was. And apparently if you've got a black toga, it means you're representing sort of working class Rome. So essentially that means that almost every single seat in that entire place was for privileged people, and just one dude was there speaking for the working class in its entirety, which, looking back, almost makes the scene even funnier, because all these white toga people were going, "Oh, Caesar's doing an alright job. No, he isn't. He's not doing the best job. He could be doing better." Then all of a sudden the guy in the black toga stands up and is like, "Speaking for the hood, kill Caesar." So obviously he didn't advocate Caesar's death, but it was just funny that he was the dude that stood up to fire the most shots. And we also saw the Roman soldier who started being a prisoner in the Colosseum, but then that other soldier recruited him to help find the Golden Eagle. And he's the one guy that I think might be called Titus Pullo already. Either that or we have not met the character yet, but just now I think my memory is telling me that the dude we met in the gladiator prison is Titus Pullo, but perhaps not. And that of course was kind of the main story of the last episode. Those two soldiers were tasked with going to find the eagle. They get the horses stolen, only to stumble across Pompeii woman's son, the white horse, and after they kill the dudes they find out they had the golden eagle as well, and they got horses. That's at least 3 birds with one stone. Mighty impressive throwing there, fellas. And when they bring the severed head of the blue Spaniard who stole the golden eagle to Caesar, he instantly identified the tattoo on the side of his head as being from Pompeii, and he has officially declared war. On top of all that, by the way, I completely forgot this, Caesar was trying to maintain peace by marrying off another woman to Magnus to keep the Pompeii-Rome thing going. Magnus turns around and marries another woman. So yeah, it is all out beef at this point, and I've been looking forward to this episode all week, so without further ado, this is episode 2 of Rome, season 1, How Titus Pullo Brought Down the Republic. Let's check it out and see what it's saying to it. Wasn't sure about this intro when I saw it for the first time last week. I've got to say it is instantly memorable. I've literally had days this week where I've thought about this fucking weird shutter speed intro and its song. So there's something hypnotic about it. I wish I knew what else Bruno Heller had written. This is the first thing I've ever seen his name attached to.
3 more gone this morning.
Outcasts and idiots.
Mutineers, get them beheaded.
What happens in January when your term runs out and we're still sitting here?
Why is Caesar still here? Because I thought in the last episode we saw one of the Gaul leaders kiss the golden eagle, signifying, submission. So why is Caesar still on this campaign now? Does he have to defeat a vast many leaders? Was that just one of many? Otherwise he should be back in Rome, keeping on top of all this other shit.
I'm gonna drink all the wine, smoke all the smoke, and fuck every whore in the city.
Show some dignity. You're under the...
This guy has one MO and he sticks to his guns.
What if she's got skinny? What if she's been letting other men get between her legs?
Silence!
True, soldiers still have this issue to this day, unfortunately. There's a lot of military wives that love their side action. Shame on you all. Still trying to get your shop discounts and shit. Go home.
I love him, man.
Why is he seen as such a hero, this guy?
Take the boy back to Atia. Get your reward, eh?
He does deserve a reward for bringing the boy back in one piece. Completely accidental saving, but still a saving. She's thinking, was that a bull? Could have been a bull. Better go check. Might have been a bull.
A fig for Caesar!
By the five furies, if I were not a genteel woman, I would have you flayed and hung from a bracket at the door.
A genteel woman? You fucking slit a bull's throat, you crazy bitch. I looked into it, by the way. I now know that this is a small cult. They used to worship a mother goddess.
You're to be very good to them, Mother. They're particular friends of mine.
I've never had someone remind me of King Joffrey instantly before this little shit.
I wonder it took you so long to subdue those odious Gauls.
There was a great many of them, Mum.
Great many, very good.
Like someone who's never been on a battlefield asking the people who are on the battlefield what took them so long.
I must go to my wife.
Your wife has waited 8 years. She can wait a little longer.
Let the man go home to his wife.
It's just your sister.
Is she alright?
Women's troubles. Nothing a good leeching won't cure.
Leeching was Rome's version of duct tape.
Marcus Antonius, newly elected tribune of plebs, champion of the people.
Did he just say he was the newly elected son of plebs? In the UK, calling someone a pleb is like an insult. I do not know what pleb actually means.
Priests. Crooks, many of them. I just talk direct to whatever god I'm doing business with. Bugger the priests.
I know he's just like a dumb jock, but I like this guy's attitude. His approach to life is almost enviably simplistic.
It should remain as it was at the founding of the Republic. Why should that change?
Because the Roman people are suffering. Because slaves have taken all the work.
These slaves are always the same, showing up, shackled and chained, working non-stop, taking our jobs.
Never mind the law. That's what I say.
You say that because you govern your reason no better than you govern your tongue.
Well, at least the guy took the insult on the chin, accepted it and moved on. Again, a simple man.
We are not friends, I am his superior officer.
By virtue of rank, if nothing else.
That is enough from you!
I do feel like this guy needs to unwind a bit. I understand he's the superior officer, but they were chilling out in a dinner setting, just having a bit of banter. I don't know. I do like the superior officer, but he was being a bit uptight there.
The cleaner brothels are in the Subura, next to the Venereal Temple.
The Venereal Temple, that sounds fucking terrifying.
You're alive?
Oh shit. This could have just as easily have been footage from a Walmart in 2023.
Your grandson, the son of your daughter.
My daughter is on.
She's 13, near 14.
A son by who?
Kryto.
It was a lot more innocent than it seemed. Can't be mad at him for instantly being like, what the fuck? But yeah, he messed up a little bit. I knew this was some Pompeii shit. 2 episodes in, I'm already starting to be prejudiced toward the Pompeii people. I think they've had it harsh enough historically. I should lay off.
Be surprised to be called whore.
That was wrong.
Not exactly the bouquet of flowers and box of chocolates she was expecting. But it makes a good story for the grandkids.
Is it as you like it?
Less salt next time.
Fucking hell. I know he found the head of the golden eagle, but I didn't realise the staff was still lost up his ass.
Big phalluses of a Suevi I killed in the Rhinelands. My official spoils I put into slaves. They're at the market.
Just dead men's jewellery and slaves. Is that really what you got as a Roman soldier? I didn't realise that the actual soldiers of the Roman army lived such working class lives. You would have thought they would have had a bit of nobility, but then I guess if that was bestowed upon them, they wouldn't want to fight anymore. So yeah, double-edged sword.
For 12 moons hence, thou art tribune of plebs.
Seriously, guys, I don't know how that became an insult. Probably because of Rome at some point hating on the plebs, and that just became some shit. But to hear that guy saying it with such esteem will never not be fucking hilarious to me. Also, he did say Roma, so maybe it wasn't some Pompeii cult shit. Maybe this is the Rome cult shit, where they wear porcelain doll heads on their heads and have heads. Can the bull blood people fuck with heads? I don't think so.
You wear the bloody red cloak of a soldier. Che brutta figura. It completely fell from my mind.
So it's an insult to even show up in the political setting wearing any red.
I have been delegated by Caesar to negotiate a compromise.
Caesar wishes to avoid bloodshed.
Oh, so Marcus Antony's been sent as a sort of delegation between Caesar and Magnus, I see. I'm doing well with the names so far, I'm patting myself on the back for this shit. Usually I'd give them all nicknames episode 1, and I would just always remember the nickname.
Of Caesar's resignation, he could have avoided prosecution by accepting a few years' banishment.
If this is the terms Magnus is coming to the table with, he is only ever gonna get a full-on war.
The man's term of office ends in 2 weeks.
We say 6 months.
2 weeks!
Is there going to be another vote in 2 weeks' time, or have they just decided to override it and add another 6 months to his reign due to his war campaign or something?
Snows melt.
That's a threat!
I assure you it is no threat. Snows always melt.
I completely get what he was meaning by the comments, but in the context of taking those 3 sentences literally, that was fucking hilarious.
Then we have no more business.
I don't know, Marcus Antony seems like a serious dude. He seemed very confident in the negotiation, even when it turns sour, his expression didn't change. It's almost as if he expected that outcome when he got there. It definitely looks like he wants war, does our Marcus. He's had a great first night back. Now just don't do anything stupid and fuck up the rest of your evening.
Come on, ladies, hear me now. Furies and river gods for 5.
Is that Liar's dice or like a more primitive Rome version of it? What a fucking horrible sex scene. His wife looks deeply unhappy. I guess it would just be weird, to be honest. Someone coming back after 8 years, you would have completely gotten used to life without them. Alright HBO, with your 2 scenes in a row of people fucking while their daughters are in the room.
Wise men and graces on 4.
Those graces don't like you, think.
He better be careful, he's just acquired this money. Don't tell me he's gonna lose it all at fucking dice night 1.
Graces over 4.
I don't even know if these dice are legit at this point, that seemed a bit too convenient, but... Oh shit! I thought the guy must have been cheating, but I did not expect him to take a gladius straight through the neck. And of course, this perfectly shows now how we first met this dude in a gladiator prison, and something tells me he's gonna be going right back to the gladiator prison cells after this. I don't like it when I'm getting watched by a cock.
Who is this man?
Run, get a doctor.
I don't want people dying in my house.
Do as I say, woman!
I didn't realise he got messed up that badly. Shit. At least he knew what house to go to. That's literally the one house he could have went to where he would have got any sort of help. Shit! Has he got a cracked skull or a crushed skull or something? What the fuck are they doing? Are they removing a part of his skull? Oh, fucking hell, I do not even know how that would feel. I've got a sneaking suspicion it would not be good. I didn't even realise they could do that procedure in ancient Rome, take out a piece of skull and then replace it with a little steel cap.
A purging of the malignancy will follow. This is brass.
This doctor makes sure he gets paid before he stops people from dying.
Try an offering to space. A white rabbit often works.
After the money he's just spent, I don't think he's going to be doing the white rabbit offering.
I understand that you're upset, but I will ask you, do not question me in that tone.
He is a very old school.
My father's cock! How's that for tone?
And she is not the most old school wife. It's an interesting combination. I mean, we're supposed to be following this guy as a likeable protagonist. Maybe not the best thing to show us a scene of him collecting his slave money.
Judge of the sand, but sure. He is rare large and aggressive.
He's an absolute maniac. He doesn't have much technique, but he's definitely got the heart.
I ask you as a friend to support the proposal and to enjoin your many friends to do the same.
Oh,
Magnus is making a big mistake going all in on this. If I was him, I would be trying to get a meeting with Caesar and trying to find some sort of middle ground. Digging his heels in is going to end badly for our Magnus, I have a feeling. There's a reason why in history people have heard of Julius Caesar and not fucking Magnus from Pompeii. I mean, you know, casuals. History casuals.
Of course, anything but an overwhelming vote encourages Caesar to think he still has friends and hope.
To my knowledge, Rome's army was nationalised, which is what made it so powerful. So, for Magnus to be saying Caesar is going to see that he's alone, even if he is, he's got the backing of the Roman army. Fuck have you got, Magnus? You've got a kid on a white horse.
You should have asked my permission before you coupled with her.
I'm so sorry.
I am within my rights to kill you here and now.
Man, this guy is so old school. I still like his character, but they are certainly showing him as an authoritative individual this episode. I know, it's a different time. How can you judge someone for the way they carried themselves back in this era? But obviously it's just still a bit jarring to watch.
I'm on the Capua run, mostly. That's 5,000 head a week sometimes.
Very well, you may marry my daughter.
Yeah, 5,000 a month, that'll buy you his daughter.
My first grandson, spawned by an ill-favoured prole. How can I be pleased?
Seriously though, he needs to chill the fuck out.
Caesar immediately lays down his command, disbands his legions.
Oh, this is going too far.
The obligation of every Roman to do him harm or to kill him.
Surely this is going too far. Rome can't mutiny against Caesar while he's not there. What if his term does end in 2 weeks' time? Then they'll just have to be angry at a new leader. Is he gonna back Magnus as promised? I take it that small gesture was him backing what the people had already said.
I demand the floor! I demand the floor! Give him the floor!
Nice, give our Marcus the floor. He'll fucking get these people told. It had just erupted into too much chaos at that point.
I do not wish that a motion as important as this should stand on a mere trick of procedure.
And I don't know, even if it was a majority decision, obviously the guys being against Caesar were the loudest, but when it was established where the battle lines were, it seemed like a bit of a 50-50 fight amongst the people.
Mark Antony must not be harmed or hindered in any way. In any way.
Oh, it's just Mark Antony. Sorry, Mark, I've been calling you Marcus.
He has no choice but to oppose me openly, which means civil war.
What I grasped from that was, in 2 weeks' time, it resets, so Mark Antony can veto the motion to do away with Caesar in 2 weeks. Did I get that right? Found that a tiny bit hard to get 100%, so let me know about the full ins and outs of that scene in the comments if you want to help me along.
I put extra nutmeg in as you like it.
Who'd have thought all it would have took was a severe brain injury to make this guy the best babysitter Rome has ever seen?
You were wrong, friend wife. He's a good man, your man.
A good man, you say?
Could this potentially turn into a love triangle between this guy's wife and the other Roman soldier? Because that will definitely end in someone's head getting cut off.
He'd say to me, have a wife back home, Niobe is her name, and she's worth more to me than all the women of Gaul.
To be fair, I think he was being 100% honest there.
Antony needs every man. If you can walk, we rendezvous at the house of Attia.
And I don't know what he makes of that conversation he just eavesdropped on. Obviously his friend was backing him, but also his wife was telling him genuinely how she felt deep down, and it must not be nice to think that your significant other is that sad in the current situation they're in with you. But it was cool of Titus to explain to her that she was the only woman he was thinking about while away, because I think it was. The conversation in episode 1 definitely suggested as much.
One would think she'd been raised by Germans.
General Antony, does my mother's screaming irritate you?
Random German hatred there.
There's a deal of screaming. I find it extremely irritating.
Oh, God. It's like Forrest Gump to the teacher when he's on the swing outside his house. Damn, that new vibrating chair they had installed worked a treat. The fact our mum just sat there and silently took that shit and accepted it as well made that even better. It's a strong front three. We've got Titus, Mark Antony, and I actually don't know the superior officer's first name yet. That was the guy that Titus was playing dice with the other night. I thought Magnus told people not to kill Mark Antony before this, otherwise it would be an all-out war. I guess the working class citizens don't give a fuck, they just want Caesar gone. No, he's been stabbed, shit! Mark Antony being sent as a delegate like that and getting attacked, that'll have to make Caesar be like, you know what, fuck this. Because he's actually tried to be incredibly civil, considering the might of the armies he has at his back.
Sound assembly. Sir.
Yeah, I think this is going to be him officially calling a war on Rome. Oh, this is getting tense. This is crazy. It's already episode 2 and this feels like some season finale shit. Caesar versus Rome. Also, with his bandana, Titus looks like a pirate out of a Final Fantasy game.
The man's found some hard black iron in his soul.
Sure it was yon demented little worm Cato put him up to it.
Caesar has to take this stance. That is absolutely taking the piss. And I guarantee that if Magnus had sent someone to Caesar in a similar fashion, it wouldn't have ended in bloodshed like that. Oh, I want to hear this speech.
Titus Pullo took the head off the first man that came at me.
Is that why the title of the episode is How Titus Pullo Brought Down the Republic?
They have declared, in effect, that all of you also are criminals! No!
You know what, I was gonna say the only thing that can fuck this up for Caesar is if some of the troops turn against him, but I think all these guys are gonna have his back.
Assaulted on the steps of the Senate House! Can you imagine a more terrible sacrilege?
And he's not wrong. What's ironic is they were all saying he'd got a bloodlust and was a savage for being in an 8-year war campaign. They're doing way more bloodthirsty shit back in the fucking capital. Oh, here we go. I didn't realise Caesar did this and was declared an enemy of Rome or any of this shit.
Here's 500 denarii!
Very grateful, sir.
Don't fucking gamble this all on dice this time, mate.
Are you with me?
Oh, this is gonna be epic. This is incredible. I wish they had the budget. I know that there isn't gonna be big, glorious battle scenes in this show. You could tell that episode 1 in the battle scene, it was all tightly shot, and you could tell they didn't have lots of extras or costumes and shit, so everything was filmed with just 2 or 3 people in the shots to make it look action-packed when it was quite low budget. You can't blame the show for that. That's their budget, but it's just a shame that if Caesar does, march on Rome, I mean, just imagine what that would have looked like with a big budget. It's almost a shame. And what's going to happen with the soldiers in the capital? I'm assuming there still will be Roman soldiers in Rome, so are they going to side with Caesar when he arrives, or are we literally going to see 2 sides of a Roman army fight one another?
Caesar, what have you done?
He had no choice, had he?
How's this character going to take straight disrespect to the slightest thing this entire episode, but then not see why Caesar would want to march on Rome given the circumstances he's been put into?
Caesar is in Italy!
Nice, drum up some fear amongst the locals.
Have you heard?
I heard.
Oh, we all heard. I think the baby heard as well. Its first words are going to be Caesar is in Italy.
What's going to happen?
War is going to happen.
And historically, 9 times out of 10, the manpower in war wins out. Either that or, some extreme technological advantage. But usually it's just about the amount of men on your side. So I think the one thing that can turn the tide in this situation is if, when Caesar arrives, if the soldiers already garrisoned in Rome side with him. Okay, and that was episode 2 of season 1 of Rome, How Titus Pullo Brought Down the Republic, and I will be back in just a minute with my thoughts on that. So, how Titus Pullo brought down the Republic, what did I think of that? I don't know if you can tell by the smile I've had on my face throughout this episode, but I just thought this was such great TV, and on top of that, it genuinely feels like they're building towards a storyline that is almost deserving of being season finale material, and it feels like we're gonna get it episode 3 or episode 4 into this show. Now, obviously it could be a red herring and no battle could take place, it could still be completely diffused, but even if it is, the hype they've built up with the tension between the two sides is still a real thing that I'm feeling right now, and I would love to see it come to a head, but even if it doesn't, I'm hyped at the way they built this shit, the way the fucking Senate all snaked and turned against Caesar. He gets word and instantly gives a dope war speech, rallies the troops and marches on Rome. That is just some incredibly epic shit. And also for me this episode, the character dynamic changed between Titus Pullo and his superior officer. I really need to learn the superior officer's name. He's clearly one of the main characters, and it's Tommy from Trainspotting, as if he's the one I don't have memorised. But yeah, their dynamic changed because episode 1, the superior officer struck me as a mature, sensible, precise kind of dude, and Titus Pullo struck me as a dumb jock with no other redeemable qualities other than he's good at cutting off heads, which is cool. But yeah, that was the dynamic I got episode 1, but this episode, it kind of changed in my mind. I feel like this episode, the superior officer showed himself to have a bit of a stick up his ass. He has no off switch, and I have yet to see the dude smile. How can you judge a guy that's been on an 8-year campaign of war on the front lines, lopping off heads every day? Won't give you much to smile about nor reflect on in your downtime. Completely understand. That being said, his wife is trying to have a life herself. She is her own person and she also deserves happiness, and she has married this guy and is loyal to him and is still with him, waiting for him after 8 years, and he can't even be nice to her or make her smile or do something cool so they remember why they got together in the first place. None of that was apparent. He just seemed very strict and unhuman, and that's where it changed for me with Titus Pullo, because at first he just seemed like a dumb henchman guy, just on the good guy team, do you know what I mean? He's like a henchman, but a good guy henchman. And this episode showed that, yeah, he's a bit shallow and he is a bit jockish, but he's more human. He's got a human side, he's got a mixed array of emotions, he can lose his temper and get in bar fights, but then he can also have deep conversations with his superior officer's wife, reassuring her that she was all he spoke of while they were away at war. So that to me showed a much more rounded human being in Titus Pullo this episode, and a much more complex character than I first expected with a superior officer, and I feel like he's one character that I would like to see just learn to enjoy life throughout this show. I will say, in the later scenes where we saw him eavesdropping on their conversation, and when she said something to him before he left, he took on the chin, you could tell that he was sparing a penny for her thoughts, and he was actually listening to the shit she was saying, and he was taking time to sit and think about it. So maybe we will see him have a character shift in later episodes, and he will begin to appreciate his wife. And this episode gave us a lot more screen time with Mark Antony as well. These people who are really up on their Rome history would have been cussing at this reaction, hearing me call him Marcus Antony for the first 20 minutes of it. I do apologise. I'm just literally, all I know about the Roman Empire is, you know, Caesar, gladiators, the Colosseum, and, you know, famed for their battle tactics, and the Red Scots and the Mohawks with the bronze body armour. You know, that's what I know about Rome. So Mark Antony, at first he comes across as quite imposing when having his one-on-one conversation with Magnus, but the terms Magnus want are just absolutely ridiculous, so obviously that conversation goes nowhere. Later in the Senate, he isn't even given a chance to speak, and then while walking through the streets, because they know in a few weeks he can veto the decision to make Caesar an enemy of Rome, he starts to get attacked from random people. And again, big up Titus Pullo for keeping Mark Antony safe, and of course the superior officer who got wounded in that. And then these guys wake up in a carriage in the middle of a convoy of Caesars on his way to march on Rome, and this guy's wounded and doesn't know what to make of it. And the way he was talking, it was like he was almost against it just for legal reasons. So because he's so by the book, I've got a feeling he might actually side with Rome over this, even though he's part of Caesar's convoy. And yeah, I said it at the start, but I will say it again at the end, that was so epic. epic, Caesar just rallying his troops and then them deciding to march on Rome. And as I said, even if it doesn't happen, the way they built it up this episode was just amazing, and I've got to say, so far these have been 2 incredible episodes of television, and I cannot wait to see what happens next week. If you've liked this video, click like, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, ring the bell to be notified as to when they drop. If there's anything you want to talk about, comment down below, and share these around to anyone you think might appreciate this or want to watch these reactions along with us. My Patreon link is down in the description. If you become a patron, you get access to my blog, you get access to these reactions I put on YouTube a month and a half in advance, and you also get access to full-length versions of everything I react to. So consider becoming a patron, it helps me and my channel out so much, and until next time, I have been BA, peace.